Hi guys, welcome to this week's ACCA selections for the 12th of August 2017. So last weekend we were close but no cigar. Unfortunately, leads were thrown away in the last few minutes and we unfortunately just missed out. But all the better this week. We've had a couple of wins so far, but yeah, these are the big ones on the Saturday. We've got a lot of games to go at where we can get those decent size ACCA wins. So today's selections. So the Premier League season is underway. Probably by the time you've heard this, the Arsenal-Leicester game will have kicked off or even finished. So the Premier League really getting underway. So we'll start there really with our first selection. So we're going for the Everton-Stoke game, and I am going for an Everton win in this one. Everton have done, as probably we all know, very good transfer business. Players like Rooney and Klassen and Keane, Pickford, etc. have all been brought in, and Everton, minus Lukaku now, are looking a better strength in depth really in the squad. Losing Lukaku's goals is going to be massive, and how they're going to replace that is still to be seen. But I just feel as though the strength in depth now Everton have got, they should be able to cope a little bit better for injuries. Maybe fullback positions is the one area still where they're a little bit weak, but in general I think Everton will have a good season. In contrast, Stoke have not really done much business at all. Reading a lot of the sort of Stoke fans forums, they're not really that happy with how the club's going. They didn't really have a great end to the season, and a lot of people are tipping Stoke to be involved in a bit of a relegation scrap, which is not really been heard of since Stoke have got promoted to the Premier League. They've always sort of held their own, finished comfortable mid-tables. Losing an Artovic as well is a massive loss to them really. A lot of goals and creativity sort of going out the team there. So Walters as well is another big loss for them. And it's just a bit of a transitional period really for Stoke, and I'm just not quite sure where they're going to be and what they're going to go with this season. In regards to the game, I think Everton will have a little bit too much for Stoke. I think their involvement in the Europa League as well will probably help. They'll be a lot match sharper, and I'm expecting with the home advantage as well that they would probably pick up a comfortable win in this one. So we're going to go with Everton. Now we drop down to the Championship for the second selection, and I'm going for Brentford to win at home against Nottingham Forest. Brentford were very strong at home the second half of last season, with players like Lasavibe and Hotter scoring plenty of goals for them, and they were starting to be really sort of dominating of teams and scoring plenty of goals. Last weekend they didn't get off to the best start. They lost away at Sheffield United, but by all accounts United were a little bit lucky on occasions. It sounded like a very open sort of game. Both teams had their chances, but Brentford missed a hell of a lot of really good chances, including some real sitters, which I don't expect them to sort of carry on doing. They did get a good win in the Cup midweek, which will have given them some good confidence. Forest have actually started the season well in regards to results, winning their opening two games, one in the league, one in the Cup. Especially the Millwall game, though. Again, it was one where Forest picked up the win, but didn't play that well, and Millwall were very unlucky not to get a point, never mind all three. And I think Forest, even Mark Warburton was of the opinion that they were very lucky to sort of get that win. I still think they're very much sort of a work in progress for us. They brought a lot of new players in, relatively new manager still. He was there for a little bit at the back end of the season, and I just think with Brentford's strength at home, I think they'll just have a little bit too much for Forest. So I'm going with that Brentford home win. Next, staying in the Championship, I'm going to go with the Hull City versus Burton Albion game, and I'm going for a Hull City win. Probably not unexpected to most. Hull impressed me last week away at Villa. Looked a very good attacking unit. Players like Grzycki and Hernandez are players who are probably playing below their sort of levels where they should be. I think with Klukas and people like that in there, I think they'll have a little bit too much creativity for a lot of teams in this league. I'm expecting them to be very strong at home again, as they were a couple of years ago in the Championship. I just think that they'll have a little bit too much for Burton. Now, Burton Start of the season, not too bad. They lost at home to Cardiff last week, a late goal there. And then in midweek they had a bit of an epic game against Oldham. So they've had sort of a day less rest on that one. In fact, actually, Hull didn't play midweek, did they? So they've had sort of a hell of a lot, 7 days extra rest than sort of Burton. So I'm expecting then Hull to be sort of very fresh. Burton, I think losing Liam Boyce as well, they're sort of big signing in the summer. I'm still struggling to see where they're going to get those sort of goals from. They've got players like Varney and Akinde, Jackson Irvine, but are they really going to get the amount of goals? A lot of it is on sort of Jackson Irvine's head, really, to sort of get the goals. But it's a lot of pressure for him. But yeah, I think this weekend, I think Hull will just have a little bit too much quality for Burton. So I'm expecting a home win there. Next, we drop down to League One. And the first game I'm going for is Rochdale against Scunthorpe. So I'm going for a home win here for Rochdale. Now, Rochdale started the season last week with a defeat at Portsmouth, but they did play a large amount of that game with 10 men after having Keane sent off. But outside of that, they didn't play too badly, and I think if they'd have not been down to 10 men, they probably would have walked away from that game with at least a draw. In midweek, they really impressed in the Cup at Mansfield. I know the Keith Hill made quite a few changes and was very impressed with how his team reacted, especially Henderson and Doan in attack were two players who really came sort of under his praise. And last season, Rochdale scored a lot of goals at home. I think that'll sort of carry on this season. They've still got that sort of good attacking threat in there with Matty Doan coming back into the fold. And I think they're sort of, although they did lose last week, I think, Rochdale are in for another decent season this year. So Scunthorpe, obviously, playoff semi-finalists last season, lost. Started the season with a home draw. And in midweek, extra time against Notts County in the Cup and went to penalties. Now, that's going to take a lot out of them, with that. And also the fact of they've probably lost their best player in Josh Morris to injury, who's looking doubtful for the game. It takes a lot of sort of Scunthorpe's creativity out of there. And yeah, so for that reason, I think Rochdale will just have a little bit too much for Scunthorpe on this occasion. So a home win there. Now, next selection is in League 2, and we're looking at the Cheltenham-Crawley game. Now, I'm going for a Cheltenham home win here. Now, Cheltenham have started the season not too bad. A very impressive win away at Oxford in the Cup in midweek. And, they're looking at a threat in the goal department, and there's plenty of goals in there at the moment in time. Also, they've got a very good record against Crawley at home, and I'm expecting that to sort of continue. I think in regards to Crawley, I think Harry Kewell's side are really, struggling at the start of this season. They're leaking a hell of a lot of goals, but also the fact they're missing Collins as goals from last season as well. It's not a recipe for success at this moment in time. I think Harry Kewell probably needs some time to sort of, bed in, get used to sort of the rigmaroles of sort of League 2 football, how they're going to play. I know last week he was talking about that they got, bullied last week by Port Vale. And I think that's something, maybe he's going to have to get used to at that level. Obviously, he spent most of his career at sort of top flight football, international level. Maybe he's got to understand that League 2 sometimes it has to be a bit of a scrap. And I'm just wondering whether he's really preparing his team for that or not. So I think on this occasion, I'm going to go with a Cheltenham home win. Now, the last selection for me is in the Lincoln and Morecambe game. And I'm going for a Lincoln win in this one. So this is Lincoln's first home game back in the Football League. And I'm expecting with all the sort of the feel-good factor around the club, and also how they've played as well against two tough opposition so far in Wycombe and Rotherham. So Wycombe last week, they managed to get a 2-2 draw. A Blight playing, quite well in there and, could have won the game. Same with the Rotherham one. I think, it's a very tight game, only lost by an odd goal against a team obviously from a higher division. And as I say, with some of the signings Lincoln's made as well, the quality that they've got in their team and squad, I'm expecting them to have, a relatively good season this year, and I think that'll start with a good home win against Morecambe. So Morecambe have started the season not too bad, scoring pretty freely, but also conceding a lot of goals, and I think that was sort of Morecambe's problems last season. They do, they don't struggle generally to score, but they do sort of ship a hell of a lot at the back. Add to that now, they're going to be missing a key defender in Lund, who sounds like he got injured in midweek. That defence is going to be even more fragile than ever before. And like I say, I just think with the sort of the feel-good factor, Lincoln, and the momentum they're still carrying from last season, I think they'll just have a little bit too much for Morecambe. So I'm going with a Lincoln win there. So that's your 6-team ACCA for this weekend, for Saturday the 12th. That's paying anywhere, depending on what bookmaker you use, between 36 to 40 to 1. So definitely a good chance of making some good profit on there if they all come in. I think the key games for me, if you're looking to sort of trim it down, I definitely think that you should be including Everton, Hull and Rochdale on there, and then the others as well are pretty good bets and should definitely boost up the odds. So that's me. So leave your comments below if you agree, disagree, etc. And I'll speak to you soon. Take care.